Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandhar Vikagiri Dhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Jai nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīta Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudeva Ki Jai. Śrīla Gurudev's 104th Śrīla Gurudev's 15th Tirobhāva Tithi Ki Jai. Jai nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīta Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Śrīla Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja's 104th Vyas Puja Tithi Ki Jai. Jai nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīta Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupāda Ki Jai. Nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīta Śrīmad Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīta Śrīmad Bhaktisiddhānta Sārasvati Gosvāmī Prabhupāda Ki Jai. Nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Mahābhagavat Śrīla Gaura-Kishora Babaji Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Śrīla Saccīdānanda Bhaktivedānta Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Vaiṣṇavas Sārvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Babaji Mahārāja Ki Jai. Śrī Rūpānuga Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Jai nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Bharati Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Tirtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Madhava Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīla Bhakti Pramod Puri Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. Nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīla Bhakti Rakshak Sridhara Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. All the associates of Jagat Guru Śrīla Prabhupāda Ki Jai. Jai nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Jai Śrīla Baladevi Vibhushan Prabhu Ki Jai. Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Śrī Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai. Śrīla Krishnadas Kaviraj Gosvāmī Pad Ki Jai. Śrī Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Śrī Jeev Gopal Bhattadasa Raghunath Shard Gosvāmī Prabhu Ki Jai. Śrī Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Śrī Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namachay Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Kora Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Śrī Hari Nama Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Jai nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudeva Ki Jai. Jai and Jai nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai. And all the festivals going on this most auspicious day all throughout the world, Ki Jai. All the devotees participating in these festivals, Ki Jai. Right. I'll share my screen and then do Mangala Charan. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Guru Vaiṣṇavaṃ Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhaṃ Vitaṃscha Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय श्रीराधिकाप्रियात्मने श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणीति नामिने। श्रीकृष्णलीलाकथने सुदक्षं औदार्यमाधुर्यगुणैश्च युक्तं वरं वरेण्यं पुरुषं महन्तं नारायणं त्वां शिरसा नमामि। त्रिदण्डिनं भक्तशिरोमणिं च श्रीकृष्णपदाब्ज धृतैकहृदि चैतन्यलीलामृतसारसारं नारायणं त्वं सततं प्रपद्ये। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुवरं श्रीरूपानुगप्रवरं व्रजरसरसिकं च नारायणं तं प्रपन्नं। श्रीगुरुचरणं वन्दे रमणप्रेष्ठं भूतले श्रीरूपानुगभक्तिरं च कृपामूर्तिं नारायणम्। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय केशवाभिन्नरूपिणे श्रीमद् भक्तिवेदान्त वामनेति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनेति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय आचार्यसिंहरूपिणे श्रीमद् भक्तिप्रज्ञान केशव इति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती इति नामिने। नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्बरसाम्भोधे पादाम्बुजायते नमः। नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवरायते। गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टसज्जनप्रिया वैष्णवसार्वभौम श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वृन्दाय तुलसीदेवाय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रददेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः. Actually, let's do what Śrīla Gurudeva would always say in his Mangala Charan. We'll do these two verses. Tavaivasmi, na jivami tvaya vina, itti vigyaya devi tvang, nayamang charanantikam. Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshai, kshiptascha kamadhitaranga madhye, kripa mai tvam sharanam prapanna, vrinde namaste charanaravindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. The power just went out. Looks like the Wi-Fi is still working though. Just 1 second. Let me just turn on a light. Right. Dandavat pranams. Śrī Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Lola Mataji, and it looks like my father is there and my mother, so Rishabdev Prabhu and Nishchinta Mata, and Nanda Nandan Prabhu, Dandavat pranams. And let's see who else is here. Vidya Lala Sadidi, I'm guessing Raseshwari Mataji and Indira Mataji. And if you write a comment, I'll see your name. I don't know who's all there right now, but yeah, pranams everybody watching now, and also pranams to all the devotees watching in the future, like Shachi Devi, Jayadev Prabhu, Krishna Rose, Ananda Pradayani, Vrinda Didi, Anuradha Mataji, and everybody else. Hare Krishna. So today is the 15th disappearance day of our beloved Śrīla Gurudeva, and the 104th appearance day of Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And what we're doing now, yesterday we read, there's a beautiful glorification of Śrīla Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja showing how he embodies the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava. And we went through around half of those qualities, maybe 15 qualities. And now today we're going to be reading an article that we just published late last night. Sent it out maybe like 10:30 or something like that, p.m. last night. And it is an article describing Śrīla Gurudeva's contribution in Mathurā-maṇḍala, and how he really fulfilled the inner heart's desire of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Gosvāmī Prabhupāda and our Param Gurudev Śrīla Bhakti Brigyan Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja. We, on Śrīla Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda's disappearance day, how long ago was that? Maybe like a week ago, or a bit longer than a week ago. We read this article of Śrīla Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda in Mathurā-maṇḍala, and the desires that he said that in this, I forgot exactly what they were, because it was a very long list. But one of the prominent ones is that he said that he wanted that the Rupanuga conceptions must be disseminated within this Mathurā-maṇḍala. And to this day, it's only Śrīla Gurudeva. If you go to Mathura now, you won't find any other Gaudiya Math. You won't find any ISKCON temple. I think now recently ISKCON made a restaurant there, but you won't find any temple, it's only our Śrīla Gurudeva who established a center in Keśava, in Mathura, because Mathura is Mathura is filled with the topmost scholars, and everybody there in Mathura, they're so established in their conceptions and of everything, and it's not an easy thing to establish our Gaudiya Siddhanta, our Mahaprabhu's line, or the Rupanuga line in Mathurā-maṇḍala. Is a very difficult task, and to this day, only Śrīla Gurudeva has done it. Has something established there. So, but there are so many different unique glories of Śrīla Gurudeva, especially connected to his to how he made the Sārasvata Dhara, the line of conceptions of Śrīla Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda, flow in Mathurā-maṇḍala, and so that's what the topic of our reading will be today. And then tomorrow we will read through the second half of Srila Vāmana Goswami Maharaj's those 26 qualities. So I'll share my screen and we'll begin. But yeah, this article is so nice. I've never seen Gurudev glorified like this before. Like showing these, we've heard so many different glories of Śrīla Gurudeva, but I think this is a pretty unique, unique angle. So, where is it? And if anybody wants to find the article, it is on. I posted it on my Facebook page. You can find a link to the PDF that we're reading now. There it is. And this is, part 4 in a series. There'll be one more article coming out after this, part 5, and that will come out on Śrīla Gurudev's Vyas Puja. So, Mathura, the Sārasvata Mission in the Heart of Vraja, part 4. Part 1 went through the glories of Mahaprabhu and Mahaprabhu's going to Mathura and Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī in Mathura, and like the more ancient, for the further back history like that of our Gaudiya line in Mathura. Then it goes through Śrīla Sarasvatī. Part 2 is Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sārasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda in Mathura. Part 3 is our Param Gurudev in Mathura, and now part 4 we come to our Śrīla Gurudev. Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Goswami Maharaj establishing the Sarasvata Mission in Vraja-maṇḍala. And there's, you see Krishnadas Prabhu right there. What is it? Oh yeah. Today, this article is pretty long, so we are going to go over time in our reading today. But if you have to go, you don't need to worry. If you have to leave but you don't want to miss it, don't worry, because this is all being streamed on YouTube, so you could always watch the rest later if you need to leave at any point. I'm guessing we'll probably finish in a little over than an hour from now. Okay. Fulfilling Śrīla Prabhupāda's and Śrīla Param Gurudev's desire. Śrīla Gurudev and Śrī Keśava Gaudiya Math. In 1954, nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Om viṣṇupāda Ashtotara Shri Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Goswami Maharaj, an intimate associate of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sārasvata Ṭhākura Prabhupāda, acquired a dharmashala in Jawahar Hut. It was not far from where Śrīla Prabhupada, Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta, whenever we see Śrīla Prabhupada, it's referring to Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda in this article. So it's not far from where Śrīla Prabhupada had stayed during his 1932 parikrama at Sri Baladev Vilas Bhavan in Dampiar Nagar, Mathura Dham, referred to part 2, page 2. Param Gurudev transforms that dharmashala into a mat, which he named Śrī Keśava Gaudiya Math. He entrusted our most worshipful Śrīla Gurudev, nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Om viṣṇupāda Ashtotara Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Goswami Mahārāja with the responsibility of running that mat. Furthermore, he assigns to Śrīla Gurudev the service of preaching Śrīmad Mahaprabhu's message, especially the Rupanuga conceptions in the Hindi language throughout Mathura and Sri Vraja-maṇḍala. Through such efforts, he laid the foundation for fulfilling Śrīla Prabhupāda's cherished desires for Sri Vraja-maṇḍala. At this very place, our revered Param Gurudev Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Goswami Maharaj took a firm vow to fulfill the heart's desire of Śrīla Prabhupāda by opposing the misconduct and deviations in religious practices prevalent in the western and northern regions of India, and by propagating the pure bhakti dharma as preached and practiced by Śrīman Mahaprabhu. And you can see here's a picture of Keśava Gaudiya Math back in, I don't know when this picture is taken, but probably in the 50s or something. Yeah. Fulfilling the heart's desire of Śrīla Prabhupāda and Śrīla Param Gurudev, fulfilling the heart's desire of Śrīla Prabhupāda and Śrīla Param Gurudev through his practice, through his achar, and preaching, prachar. While residing in the sacred land of Śrī Mathurā-dham, Śrīla Gurudev, through his ideal bhajan, impeccable conduct, dynamic preaching, and dedicated service, perfectly imbibed the teachings of his worshipful Śrīla Gurudev, his Param Gurudev, and the Rupanuga Gaudiya Acharyas. Thus, by deeply entering these teachings and living them, he served the Gaudiya Sampradaya in an unprecedented way, spreading the conceptions of the Rupanuga line to people across Mathura-maṇḍala, northern India, and also throughout the world. As mentioned in part 2, page 7, Śrīla Prabhupāda had once expressed grave concerns about the lackings in the Gaudiya Sampradaya's presentation of the Rupanuga conceptions within Vraja-maṇḍala. By his rigorous practice and preaching, Śrīla Gurudev gloriously served Śrīla Prabhupāda, thus fulfilling his innermost desires. Through the following endeavors, he raised an awareness of the glory of the Rupanuga Gaudiya Sampradaya within Mathura-maṇḍala. His preaching to the Mathura Vasis. Winning the hearts of the Mathura Vasis. Faithfully and skillfully, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja propagated the Gaudiya conceptions in Mathura, tirelessly going from door to door to preach, perform kirtan, and deliver Hari Katha. The Mathura Vasis had previously viewed Gaudiya Vaishnavism as a Bengali religion, one that has no particular relevance to their own mode of worship. And actually, I was just watching Lavang Manjari Didi and Ambarish Prabhu. They are putting together a documentary about Gurudev, and it has many parts. It's a very long documentary. And there's one part about Mathura, and they had a Guddi, Rati Manjari. She was speaking about when she was just a little girl in Mathura, like in the very early days in Keshavji Gaudiya Math. She was just a very little girl, and she said at that time, like a lot of the Mathura Vasis around her, they thought, oh my God, that place is filled with Bengalis, and Bengalis are, they do tantra and all sorts of stuff, and so just give your rice, potatoes, and like your bhiksha to the temple, but just put it at the doorstep and then quickly go away, because you don't want to get affected by the tantra. So that was what Mathura Vasis thought of Bengalis. But Śrīla Gurudev, previously the Mathura Vasis, they viewed Gaudiya Vaishnavism as a Bengali religion, one that has no particular relevance to their own mode of worship. By offering heartfelt respect to Mathura's scholarly community and to the Vaishnavas of other sampradayas residing there, as well as showing genuine affection to the local people, men, women, and children, he gradually introduced the Mathura Vasis to the Rupanuga line. Through the ever-flowing streams of his extraordinary Harikatha, he gradually made them aware of the pristine Rupanuga conceptions, and hundreds of Mathura Vasis became eager to hear more about the process of Rupanuga bhajan. And you'd see in Mathura, every day the temple room would be packed full of devotees. Even when Gurudev wasn't there, just on a normal day, it was packed full of Mathura Vasis. Establishing Gaudiya Vaishnavism within Mathura. And as I mentioned before, all the top scholars, all the biggest scholars are in Mathura. They're so establishing Gaudiya Vaishnavism within Mathura. Śrīla Gurudev maintained cordial relationships with the Vaishnavas and scholars of other sampradayas residing in Mathura and Vraj. He invited such Vaishnavas and scholars to participate in assemblies held in his mat to discuss the topics of Śrīmad Bhagavatam. In these discussions, Śrīla Gurudeva drew the hearers' attention to the elevated conceptions and practices of the Gaudiya Vaishnavacharyas, explaining the erudite and rasic Sanskrit commentaries on Śrīmad Bhagavatam, particularly those of Śrīla Jiva Gosvāmī and Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Reliably, he spoke to them about Sri Krishna being born in Gokul and only appearing in Mathura. That's a very difficult thing for Mathuravasis to accept also, that Krishna's real birthplace is actually Gokul and he just appeared in Mathura. That's not an easy thing to And in that documentary I was mentioning that they're still in the process of making, but they have interviews with different leading scholars from different sampradayas and speaking about Śrīla Gurudev's influence there. And these programs that Gurudev would organize and where he'd have all the top scholars of Mathura come and speak, and then Śrīla Gurudev would establish the Rupanuga conceptions there. Mostly, these respected Vaishnavas and scholars opine that Krishna has a marital relationship with the damsels of Vraj. Gurudev revealed to them the pristine purity of Parakiya Bhav, transcendental paramour love, by presenting the evidence from Śrīmad Bhagavatam and the above-mentioned commentaries. And that's the Parakiya Bhav, that is very widely condemned by all the sampradayas. It's only our Gaudiya line that accepts Parakiya Bhav. And even in our Gaudiya line, lots of people are don't fully accept it. This is a very, people think it's offensive, to say that, what, Krishna would enjoy other people's wives? No, that's impossible. So Śrīla Gurudev, he boldly established this Parakiya Tattva there. That the Mathura-vasi scholars and Vaishnavas from other sampradayas developed respect for Gaudiya Vaishnavism gives us an idea of how refined Śrīla Gurudev's method was in presenting the Rupanuga conceptions, and thus fulfilling Śrīla Prabhupada Sarasvatī Thakur's desire for Mathura-maṇḍala. Gaudiya Vaishnavism was subsequently held in regard by the spiritually influential Vaishnavas there. Thereafter, rarely any opposition came from other sampradayas in Vraj regarding the practice of the Rupanuga conceptions. Śrīla Gurudev's affection and reverence for the residents of Vraj were evident in his inviting distinguished personalities, scholars, and in fact any resident of Mathura, Vraj, to Sri Keshava Gaudiya Math before he left to preach abroad, so as to receive the Vrajvasi's blessings for the propagation of Vraja Bhakti. Witnessing Śrīla Gurudev's successful overseas preaching, the highly respected residents of Varshana honored him with the esteemed title Yugacharya. And here's a picture from that when they gave Gurudev the title Yugacharya. Accepting the position of Acharya. One second. And Hari Bo Manini Radha Didi. Okay, accepting the position of Acharya. To stimulate the living entity's interest in Sri Chaitanya, or Krishna consciousness. Right? Because Chaitanya can mean Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it can also mean our consciousness. So here it means both things. To stimulate the living entity's interest in Sri Chaitanya or Krishna consciousness, and to awaken within them Sevonmukh Vritti, the disposition to serve Sri Krishna. Śrīla Gurudev, upon the desire and instruction of his senior godbrother, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja, compassionately began to give initiation. With great dedication, he served as the Parivrajaka Acharya of Sri Keśava Gaudiya Math. He was an affectionate shelter, full of vatsalya, parental affection, for anyone who came under his shield. He thus perfectly fulfilled the role of both a Shiksha Guru, guiding devotees in service to their Diksha Guru, and later himself as a Diksha Guru. Brihat Mridanga, presenting our Guru Varga via the Brihat Mridanga. While residing at Sri Keśavji Gaudiya Math, Śrīla Gurudev tirelessly spoke on the works of the 6 Gosvāmīs and the other Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, which illuminate the path of pure bhakti for all living beings, and which reveal the effulgent love of the Vraja Devis for Krishna. Such works are devoid of even the slightest scent of the desires for dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, which are essentially selfish. Firmly committed to propagating and preserving the Rupanuga Sampradayic conceptions, Śrīla Gurudev fully dedicated himself to the service of the Brihat Mridanga, the publishing and propagation of transcendental literature. He was particularly noted for his captivating Harikatha, which was a nectarian tonic for the listeners' hearts. Śrī Bhagavat Patrika. It was at Sri Keśavji Gaudiya Math that Srila Param Gurudev initiated the publication of the spiritual Hindi monthly magazine, Śrī Bhagavat Patrika. He entrusted Srila Gurudev with the responsibility of serving as editor. Because the magazine's language was profound and philosophically deep, it quickly gained immense respect among Mathura's scholarly community. And you can see that language in it is very high refined language, very it gained immense respect among Mathura's scholarly community. Many came to appreciate the supremacy of Bhakti Dharma in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition and began to praise it highly. Translating the works of the Gaudiya Acharyas. Srila Param Gurudev had instructed Srila Gurudev to translate the works of the Gaudiya Acharyas, especially those of Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Rupa Gosvāmī, and others into Hindi. While residing at Sri Keśavji Gaudiya Math, Srila Gurudev published his Hindi translations of the Gaudiya Mahajan's revered works, such as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, Ujjvala Nilamani, and Brihad Bhagavatamritam. As desired by Srila Prabhupāda, he also delivered numerous discourses revealing the confidential topics within Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, such as Rupa Shiksha, Sanatan Shiksha, Rai Ramananda Samvad, and Ratayatra. Satkriya Saradipika and Samskaradipika. These were actually the first Hindi books these were the first books that Gurudev published, these 2 books. While residing at Sri Keśavji Gaudiya Math, Srila Gurudev presented Hindi translations of the Vaishnava Smriti texts, Satkriya Saradipika and Samskaradipika, compiled by Srila Sanatan Goswami and Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Through these translations, he propagated the principles of pure devotional conduct, Shuddha Bhakti Sadachara Dharma, as refined and established by Srila Rupa and Sanatan Goswamis throughout Mathura Mandal. These books were all written in Vraj, right? All the books of Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and even Chaitanya Charitamrita, all these books were written in Vraj. But till Gurudev's time, before Śrīla Gurudev, these books weren't available to the residents of Vraj in their language of Hindi. And so Gurudev was the first one to, as far as I know, to make these books available for the residents of Vraj, where these books were written. Prabandha Panchakam, 5 essential essays. Through works such as Prabandha Panchakam, 5 essential essays, Śrīla Gurudev refuted any philosophy that was in the guise of bhakti and opposing the genuine conclusive truths of pure devotional service, Bhaktisiddhānta. With unwavering determination and indomitable enthusiasm, he safeguarded the principles of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Prabhupāda's line, the Śrī Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, so as to bring about the true welfare of all living beings. Establishing Gaudiya Siddhanta on the foundation of Vedanta. By the inspiration of his Sri Gurupada Padma, Śrīla Gurudeva, while residing at Sri Keśava Gaudiya Math, Mathura, published in Hindi the prominent works of Śrīla Vyasadeva, the foundational texts of Vedanta, Śrīmad Bhagavatam, which is the Shruti Prasthan, Śrīmad Bhagavad Gita, which is Smriti Prasthan, and Vedanta Sutra, Nyaya Prasthan. Vedanta has three foundational texts. It's called the Prasthana Trayi, and there's Shruti, Smriti, and Nyaya Prasthan. And so these are the three foundational texts. Well, lots of times they say Upanishads instead of Śrīmad Bhagavatam, but for us, Śrīmad Bhagavatam is, but yeah, these are the foundational texts of Vedanta. And we know our Param Gurudev, he was the one who started the Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti. And all this sannyas, he'd give everybody the title Bhaktivedānta. And it's really those who follow Baladevi Vibhushan who accept that, yes, we are a Vedantic line. These editions were accompanied by the commentaries of Gaudiya Vaishnavacharyas, and some portions were enriched with his own illuminations, in which he faithfully presented the Gaudiya understanding of Vedantic truth. Sri Keśava Gaudiya Math housed the personal books of the Gaudiya Guru Varga. Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja's blessings upon Śrīla Gurudeva were such that he bestowed upon him his own personal shastras. Moreover, upon seeing Śrīla Gurudeva's deep inclination to study shastra, some other associates of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda blessed him by gifting him with many sacred texts. Śrīla Gurudeva preserved these texts with great reverence, keeping them in the library of his bhajan quarters in Sri Keśava Gaudiya Math, Mathura. A significant portion of Śrīla Gurudeva's time was spent studying and deeply pondering these scriptures. His bhajan kutir in Mathura was like a grove of scriptures, its many bookshelves housing numerous Bengali and Hindi texts. 50 years of Bengali Sri Gaudiya Patrikas and 45 years of the Hindi Sri Bhagavat Patrika also graced those shelves. It was amidst this grove of divine words that Śrīla Gurudeva sat, absorbed in bhajan and smaran. And now all these books you can find in Giridhari Gaudiya Math, at like massive bookshelves, tons of bookshelves, completely filled with all these books. So it was a complete library. Śrīla Gurudeva had desired that his entire library would be preserved. So each and every book was carefully scanned over a period of years. Srivasa's mother did that, Vrajkishori Mataji. So scanned over a period of years. And in 2021, in honor of his centennial appearance day, this archive was made available in PDF format on purebhakti.com. So if you want a link to that, you can find it. There's a whole group of Hindi books and a whole group of Bengali books. This contribution by Śrīla Gurudeva will benefit sincere seekers both in the present and in the future. Observance of festivals and tithis. Propagating the correct observance of Ekadashi. Previously, Mathuravasis were mostly observing Ekadashi in accordance with the Smarta calendar, which lists Ekadashi tithis, lunar days, even if those tithis are impure, meaning mixed with the previous day's Dashami Tithi during the Brahma Muhurta. It was at Sri Keśava Gaudiya Math that Śrīla Gurudeva introduced and annually published in Hindi the calendar of Vaishnava observances and festivals, the Vaishnava Vratsotsav Talika, in accordance with Śrī Hari Bhakti Vilas, which is the Vaishnava Smriti, the Vaishnava Ritual Codex, compiled by Śrīla Sanatana Gosvāmī. By so doing, hundreds of people throughout Mathura-maṇḍala and elsewhere now observe Shuddha, pure Ekadashi, and also other Vaishnava Vrats and festivals on the pure Tithis, in accordance with the method of calculation given in Śrī Hari Bhakti Vilas. And I know that, I just know myself, because I lived in Mathura for 5 years, and every Dwadashi, I would go out, all the brahmacharis would go out on Bhiksha, and we'd go to all the different houses of the Vrajavasis, but all of them were following our Gaudiya calendar, not the Smarta calendar. And on Ekadashi day, Keśavji Gaudiya Mat would be packed, completely packed, full of the Mathuravasis. They'd all take prasad there. On Ekadashi day, everybody was warmly welcomed to take prasad, so that to get the Vrajavasis to follow fasting on Ekadashi day. So by Śrīla Gurudeva, many hundreds of Mathuravasis started following, they started following also not just observing Ekadashi, but our standard of Ekadashi, not such a high standard of Ekadashi. The authentic way of collecting alms. From Śrī Keśavji Gaudiya Mat, Śrīla Gurudeva would send the brahmacharis to collect Dwadashi Bhiksha from the Mathura residents. In this way also, he introduced Śrī Keśavji Gaudiya Mat and the teachings of Śrīmad Mahaprabhu to the Mathura Vasis. Without discriminating between rich and poor, Śrīla Gurudeva would personally go from house to house with the brahmacharis to speak katha and do kirtan. Sometimes he would return to the mat as late as 11 or 12 at night, and only after returning would he and the brahmacharis partake of prasad. Śrīla Gurudeva always prioritized preaching-oriented bhiksha, meaning alms were received as a byproduct of preaching, over bhiksha-oriented preaching as a means to collect alms, thereby revealing his pure intention to propagate Mahaprabhu's message. Celebrating Vaishnava festivals with depth. Every year, while residing at Śrī Keśavji Gaudiya Mat, Śrīla Gurudeva would enthusiastically organize various festivals such as Śrī Guru Purnima, Śrī Baladev Purnima, Śrī Janmashtami, and Śrī Radhashtami. The hallmark of his observance of these festivals was his revelation of the profound philosophical truths, the tattva darshan behind these divine personalities and their pastimes. The grandeur of the festival was always secondary. The main thing was the philosophical truths, going deep into the tattva behind these divine personalities and pastimes. The festival is secondary. That was the festival, the Hari Katha. Every evening and the week before the festival, Śrīla Gurudeva would have the devotees speak on the tattva expounded by the personality whose festival they were about to observe, such as Guru Tattva, Baladev Tattva, Krishna Tattva, and Radha Tattva. So many days before the festival, devotees would be preparing themselves to be they're going deep into the tattva. So then when the day came, then they were already, for many days, they were already deeply going into the all the Harikatha regarding that personality. So the devotees under his guidance received the opportunity to be trained by him in Gaudiya Siddhanta and in presenting it. And occasionally they received correction from him. We know how heavy Śrīla Gurudeva was. It was very difficult to speak in front of Gurudev because he really made everybody train hard. So the audience found their talks most illuminating. And Śrīla Gurudeva would just ask he would ask small junior people to stand up and speak. So then everybody was on their was afraid. Oh my God, Gurudev just asked him. That means he might ask me. And so everybody was always on their toes. Observance of a grand Vyas Puja on Ashadi Purnima Tithi, the appearance day of Srila Vyasadeva. Srimad Mahaprabhu performed Vyas Puja or Guru Puja on the day of Ashadi Purnima, the appearance day of Srila Vyasadeva. An account of this is found in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Khanda, 5th chapter. Later, the followers of Srila Prabhupada residing in the various Gaudiya Maths would honor the appearance day of Srila Vyasadeva on this day as token respect. So they'd observe this day, but it wasn't such a big thing. Conversely, they would observe a grand festival in honor of the appearance day of the founder Acharya of their Math. But on Guru Purnima day, it wasn't such a big festival. The grand festival was on the day of the appearance day of the founder Acharya of their Math. And some would observe in a grand manner only the appearance day of the present day Acharya of their institution, understanding him to be a representative of Srila Vyasadeva. Our Śrīla Gurudeva, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, introduced to the Gaudiya Sarasvat line on a widespread scale the observance of Vyasa Puja on the Ashadi Purnima Tithi, the appearance day of Srila Vyasadeva. Notably, he did this at Sri Keśava Gaudiya Math, Mathura, being the birthplace of Sri Krishna Dvaipayan Vedavyas. As the name Dvaipayan, which means he who came on an island, what that name indicates, he was born on an island in the Yamuna near Mathura. So, like if you go to Vishramghat, if you go turn to the left and you walk for a little distance, you'll see the place where Vyasadeva was born, on an island in the Yamuna. When the acharyas of different institutions are worshipped on their appearance days as representatives of Vyasadeva, only the disciples of that acharya are likely to be inclined to perform puja of their guru. Since there are many gurus in present times, and since there will inevitably be more and more gurus in times to come, it will not be possible for any one group to honor them all. Moreover, although the disciples observe the Vyas Puja of their guru, who is the representative of Vyasadeva, on their guru's appearance day, that observance may or may not be true Vyas Puja, unless their guru offers the puja he receives from them, his disciples, to his own guru, Guru Parampara, and Srila Vyasadeva. Because it's called Vyasa Puja. What's the meaning of Vyasa Puja? You have to perform puja of Vyasadeva. So if Vyasadeva is not being worshipped, and the Guru Parampara coming from Vyasadeva, and one's own guru, then it's not actually Vyas Puja. Like Guru Puja and Vyas Puja aren't fully synonymous. Well, I guess they are, but there is a distinction also. But Śrīla Gurudeva, by honoring and observing Vyas Puja on Ashadi Purnima Tithi, the appearance day of the original Vyas, Srila Vyasadeva, Śrīla Gurudeva worships the whole Guru Parampara, or the undivided Guru Tattva, thus resolving any quandary that may arise in this regard. That was, if anybody, I think many of you have been there in Keśava, with the Śrīla Gurudeva during Guru Purnima Tithi. It was massive. From all the way from in the morning time, I forgot what time Gurudeva would sit out there, maybe like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning. Gurudeva would sit there, and there would be a continuous stream of Mathuravasis and people from all over, Vraj and Mathura and all over India. Just a continuous stream of people going to see Gurudeva. Like it was a continuous line that went all day, all the way to like 2 o'clock or something. And everybody would give like fruit and different things. And there's constantly having to be brahmacharis carrying these big big things full of fruit, and then like a constant, like it was wild how big it was. It was like one of the biggest days of the year. Also Janmashtami and Guru Purnima, those were like two extremely massive days. And Śrīla Gurudeva would do Vyas Puja, he would perform it in, I remember 4 places. He'd do it in Delhi, then he'd go and do it in Mathura, then in Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Math, and then also in Govardhan. I remember 4 places. At least when I was there, I remember doing it like that. He really strongly established this. And before Śrīla Gurudeva, it wasn't no temple, like no mud. It wasn't such a huge day. Śrīla Gurudeva wrote a few articles on the glories of Śrīla Vyasadeva, the significance of Śrī Vyasa Puja, and the absolute necessity of performing Vyasa Puja in order to make one's human birth successful. These articles were published in Śrī Bhagavad Patrika. Śrīla Vyasadeva's literary contributions are numerous, and all of humanity is indebted to him for his Śrīmad Bhagavatam, Upanishads, Śrīmad Bhagavad Gita, Vedanta Sutra, Mahabharata, and so forth. We've read a couple of Śrīla Gurudeva's Vyasa Puja classes that were published in the Rays of the Harmonists. And he'd always get very great. They're very powerful when he'd speak on this. And also to do the Vyas Panchak, right? We'd have the anyways, okay. So in Mathura and elsewhere in India, all the Vaiṣṇava Sampradayas, including the Shankar Sampradaya, and also common people, observe Ashadi Purnima Tithi, the appearance day of Śrīla Vyasadeva. From the perspective of thoroughly understanding and following the philosophical conclusions of Śrīla Vyasadeva, it is debatable how genuine the said worship is. According to Shankar, Śrīla Vyasadeva was mistaken. So how much honor do Shankar's followers truly have for Śrīla Vyasadeva? It is therefore imperative for the Gaudiya Acharyas, who are the genuine representatives of Śrīla Vyasadeva, to step forward and honor this blessed Tithi, following the mood exhibited by Śrīla Prabhupāda Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura, who personally demonstrated devotion to the worship of Śrīla Vyasadeva and the practice of Vyasa Puja. On the occasion of his own appearance, however, Śrīla Prabhupāda spoke the following words, thus demonstrating the mood of one who sits on the asana of Vyasa. So Śrīla Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda, he said, Śrīmad Ananda Tirtha, that's Śrīmad Madhvacharya, while engaged in the worship of Śrī Vyasa, to demonstrate the proper ideal of such worship, ascended the Vyasasana, the seat of Vyasa, and performed the duties of an Acharya for 80 years. In the line of his followers, it remains a sign of fidelity to him to sit upon the Vyasasana according to disciplic succession and explain the meaning of the Śrīmad Bhagavatam. From a worldly point of view, reflecting on one's own disqualification might become an obstacle to ascending the Vyasasana. Yet, may we never, under the sway of the sinful tendency to disobey the divine commands of our Śrī Gurudev, become estranged from the service of the lotus feet of our Guru. This alone is our humble submission at the feet of both Śrī Vyasadeva and Śrīmad Madhvacharya. In regard to my personal identity and position, I know myself to be unqualified, not even fit to be spoken to, forever a servant of the followers of Śrī Rupa. Therefore, this present disorderliness, this viṣṇupāda, is but a symptom of my inherent unworthiness, ayogyata nibandhan. If the assembled listeners kindly forgive my audacity, I may become eligible to serve them in the role of a servant. But if my voice is stifled, I shall be denied the right to participate in Śrī Vyasa Puja. For this reason, I humbly submit this earnest plea before you all. Just as you have bestowed the privilege of performing Vyasa Puja upon countless great personalities, please grant me too that right, if only for a fleeting moment. So this was from the Weekly Gaudiya, 6th Khanda, February 25th, 1928, issues 28 to 29. Furthermore, as expressed in Srila Prabhupada's speech above, as true representatives of Srila Vyasadeva, Vyasanuga, it is the duty of the Gaudiya Acharyas to honor the Ashadi Purnima Tithi, the appearance day of Srila Vyasadeva, the original Vyas, and accepts the worship of the common people in order to connect them to a bona fide line of worship and lead them to their supreme auspiciousness. If Gaudiya Acharyas do not step up to this task, the common people are bound to offer their worship to those who are not bona fide representatives of Srila Vyasadeva and remain deprived of their eternal welfare. Sri Rupa Gosvāmī Conference and Julan Yatra. Every year between Shri Radha Govinda's Julan Yatra and Sri Baladev Purnima, Śrīla Gurudeva held a 3-day conference at Sri Rupa Sanatan Gaudiya Math, Vrindavan, to commemorate the disappearance of Srila Rupa Gosvāmī and to keep Srila Rupa Gosvāmī's profound contribution alive in the Gaudiya line. The assembly consisted of Vaiṣṇavas and learned scholars from throughout Vraj. Through this annual conference, Vraja-maṇḍala and the whole world gradually became aware of the tenets of the Gaudiya Rupanuga Rasa Upasana. And now actually we see that even in ISKCON now they're doing a 3-day festival like Śrīla Gurudeva would do. So Śrīla Gurudeva established this, and now other people are starting to follow this 3-day festival where everybody all day glorifies Srila Rupa Gosvāmī, making it a really big thing. On this occasion, in his talk concluding the festival, after other speakers had expressed their reflections, Srila Gurudeva would highlight the unparalleled glories, teachings, and contributions of Srila Rupa Gosvāmī, as well as unveil the mysteries of Julan Yatra. His talk was enriched by his descriptions of the traditions and songs of Vraj, Vraja-riti, the songs of exalted Vaishnavas, Paramahansa Giti, and principles involved in relishing Rasik Niti, in the swing festival. Now, Shri Krishna Janmashtami and Shri Radhashtami. In 1932, when Srila Prabhupada resided in Mathura during the month of Kartik, he organized a grand Krishna Nam Sankirtan in Mathura city for the welfare of all. Years later, on the day prior to Shri Krishna Janmashtami, Srila Gurudeva engaged his dedicated sevaks in organizing an annual grand Shobha Yatra, a chariot procession from Sri Keśavji Gaudiya Math. It was accompanied by tumultuous Nam Sankirtan, which resounded throughout the ancient city. Riding on the last chariot of the parade, Srila Gurudeva showered affectionate blessings on the masses of onlookers. This festival is observed by his sevaks to this day. And Gurudeva was very strict that everybody had to attend it. So even now, on the Janmashtami Eve day, for that big, massive Shobha Yatra, all the older Matajis from Gopinath Bhavan and everybody from everywhere, everybody comes for it. It's like a very big thing every year. In the days leading up to Janmashtami, Srila Gurudeva would speak elaborately on Krishna Tattva. Importantly, he explains that Vrajendranandan Krishna was born from the womb of Mother Yashoda in Gokul, and four-armed Devaki Nandan Krishna appeared before Vasudeva and Devaki in the prison of Mathura. He wasn't born, he appeared. It is Vrajendranandan Shri Krishna who is worshipped by the Gaudiyas and whose birth is celebrated by them on Janmashtami. The next day, they observe Nandotsav. On the occasion of Shri Radhashtami, again, Srila Gurudeva spoke on Radha Tattva for several days leading up to the festival. He introduced Vraja's unique tradition of chab. Here's a picture of the chab. So chav, which means bringing a heartfelt offering that expresses one's inner joy. Hundreds of devotees went in different Sankirtan parties to the homes of various Mathura-vasis who had prepared hundreds of baskets of various offerings for Srimati Radharani. When the parties reached the Math, Śrīla Gurudeva personally greeted them. By this, the hearts of the Mathura-vasis and participants from all over the world were filled with the festive spirit of Vraj culture. Yeah, I remember that. Every Radhashtami, I would go to Kailash Nagar. There'd be groups of, they'd organize groups of different brahmacharis. So there'd be like, a mridanga player and a singer, and like they'd have a certain group of kirtaniyas in this party and then a certain group of kirtaniyas in that party, and they organized a few different parties, and then we got sent to different parts of Mathura. And then when we'd get there, all the people of that part of Mathura, they would all make these like anukut kind of things, like little offerings in baskets. Not many food items, and also many things like bangles and sindoor and like different items like that. And then everybody would carry it on their head, and then there'd be like a marching band in the front, and then behind the marching band there'd be our kirtan party, our kirtan group, and all the Mathura-vasis, they would follow along with and carrying all the baskets, and all the ladies would do their dancing, that style of dancing, and it was a massive festival on Radhashtami Tithi, like that. And everybody would do kirtan and carry the baskets from all the different parts of Mathura. Everybody would come to Keśavji Gaudiya Math like that. So that's called chab. Guiding the world into Śrī Vraja-dham and Śrī Navadvip-dham. As a faithful follower of the Sarasvata Dhara, Śrīla Gurudeva unfailingly led and organized the annual Śrī Vraja-maṇḍala and Śrī Navadvip-dham parikramas, which were eagerly attended by devotees from all over India and across the globe. In order to both glorify and guide others through the sacred pastime places, the Lila-stalis, he carried forward this cherished tradition with unwavering dedication. Śrī Vraja-maṇḍala Parikrama. For 50 years in the month of Kartik, Śrīla Gurudeva organized the annual Śrī Vraja-maṇḍala Parikrama from Śrī Keśavji Gaudiya Math. 50 years, every year. Following in the footsteps of Śrīmad Mahaprabhu, he would lead hundreds of devotees from India and abroad in making a sankalpa, a vow, at Vishram Ghat, for their successful execution of the parikrama. He would then circumambulate Vraja-maṇḍala and the pastime places marked by the footprints of Śrīmad Mahaprabhu in accordance with the mood in the kirtan, Shuddha Bhakata. Goraya marje savastane, goralo brahmana range, se savasthana heri boyami, pranay bhakata sange. So in the company, and here's a picture of Vishram Ghat there, where we do sankalpa. So the meaning of that is, in the company of pranay bhaktas, I will go to all those places that Gauranga joyfully visited. Śrīla Gurudeva inspired the devotees to organize and perform sincere parikrama of Shri Giriraj, as well as a grand Anukut Mahotsav and a magnificent Maha Abhishek. By publishing, I remember all the ladies, they'd give all the ladies yellow saris, right? And everybody would cook. It's such a huge celebration. Śrīla Gurudeva inspired the devotees to organize and perform By publishing the book Śrī Vraja-maṇḍala Parikrama in Hindi, Śrīla Gurudeva made the significance of many of Vraja's previously unknown Lila-stalis easily available to all. This book was translated into English. Additionally, he undertook the task of restoring various Lila-stalis of Vraj, such as Bhandirvat, Javat, Uddhav Kyari, Vishakakund, Durvasa Rishi Ashram, Kaliya Daha, and Brahmakund. even in Javad, I went there twice recently actually, and they have a framed picture of Gurudev on their altar there, because Gurudev renovated the whole place. It's like a pretty big picture. I was surprised. So Śrīla Gurudev consistently supported Śrī Ramesh Baba of Varshana's campaign to protect the Leela Stalis of Kamyavan from land mafia. He personally met with Śrī Ramesh Baba to offer assistance to this noble cause. Yeah, Ramesh Baba is amazing. Anyways, Śrī Navadip Dham Parikrama. In general, the residents of Mathura were unaware that Śrī Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Śrī Krishna himself, adorned with the mood and complexion of Śrī Radha, and that he appeared in this world to bestow Unata Ujjala Ras Swabhakti Shriyam, the mood of her maidservants. His gift for the jivas of this world was to show them that entrance into Krishna Lila in a mood of amour could only take place through Gaur Lila, and that to enter that amorous Krishna Lila, it is essential to understand the topmost purity of Parakiya Ras. By giving Mathuravasis, as well as the faithful souls from across the globe, the opportunity to participate in Śrī Navadip Dham Parikrama, Śrīla Gurudev expertly acquainted them with Gaur Nam, the holy name of Gaur, Gaur Dham, the holy abode of Gaur, and Gaur Kam, the divine desires of Gaur, and thus informs them of the unique contributions, glories, and teachings of Sriman Mahaprabhu. One second, just need to drink some water. Okay. Service to Srila Prabhupada's associates and to their disciples. Exemplifying Krishna Anushilan through Karshna Anushilan. We read about this on Śrīla Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda's Disappearance Day, this topic. There's just like a big section on this. From time to time, Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja came to Śrī Keshavji Gaudiya Math, and Śrīla Gurudev, with the affection of a perfect disciple, attentively heard the Hari Katha, specifically Vraja Katha, emanating from his Gurudev's lotus mouth, and observed his ideal conduct and practice of bhajan. And whenever Śrīla Prabhupāda's numerous intimate associates, such as Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja, Śrīla Bhakti Pramod Puri Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Śrīla Bhakti Sarvasa Giri Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Śrīla Bhakti Prapanna Damodar Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Śrīla Bhakti Bhudev Shoti Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Śrīla Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Gosvāmī Mahārāja, Śrīla Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Gosvāmī Mahārāja, and Śrīla Krishnadas Babaji Mahārāja, and others, when they would visit, all these different associates of Śrīla Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda visited Mathura-maṇḍala. Whenever they would visit Mathura-maṇḍala, they would come to Śrī Keshavji Gaudiya Math and reside there for some days. And it was a very central location because it's right next to the bus stand and also the train station, Mathura Kant train station. So when he'd go there, he'd just get off and just walk. He didn't even need to take any vehicle. He could just walk to Keshavji Gaudiya Math. Now it's in a different location, the bus stand and the there's a new bus stand but Śrīla Gurudev, by the mercy of his Śrīla Gurudev, was fortunate to attain the association of such exalted Vaishnava devotees and practice Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Anushilan, by taking shelter of such dear devotees of Sri Krishna, Karshna Anushilan. So he practiced Krishna Anushilan by taking shelter of the devotees, which is Karshna Anushilan. Hey, anyways, sorry. I'm just noticing changes I made that weren't put in. Okay. The following statement by Srila Prabhupada appeared in part 2 of the above article. So Srila Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda, he says, to engage in Krishna Anushilan, it is essential to first engage in Karshna Anushilan, that is the practice of following in the footsteps of the devotees of Krishna. Karshna means the devotees of Krishna. So you need to do Anushilan of Karshna, of the devotees of Krishna. Without Karshna Anushilan, Krishna Anushilan is not possible. Only when Krishna Anushilan and Karshna Anushilan is performed with a favorable attitude does it produce the fruit of prem. A competitive attitude towards Karshna, the devotees of Krishna, seeing them with a mundane mindset as ordinary humans, is not Krishna Anushilan. So that was Śrīla Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda, he said that. So Śrīla Gurudeva performed Karshna Anushilan in an unparalleled way, lovingly serving those exalted Gaudiya Vaiṣṇavas in the Sarasvat line and engaging in profound philosophical discussions with them. In this way, by serving his beloved Gurudev and all of those god brothers of his Gurudev, he realized many deep and supremely esoteric Rupanuga conceptions. And by embracing those moods and performing kirtan of them, he exemplified Krishna Anushilan in his sadhak form, in his sadhak roop. And now the next paragraph is about his siddha roop. So by serving all these god brothers of his Gurudev, he performs this Karshna Anushilan in his sadhak roop. Then, receiving such extraordinary mercy and guidance, he immersed himself in narrations of Sri Krishna's Ragatmika associates, especially the Vrajdevis, relishing and following their sweet service moods. He thus exemplified internal Krishna Anushilan, the limb of Smaran, through Karshna Anushilan, through following in the footsteps of an eternal resident of Vraj, and one's internal self-realized form, Siddharup. This is reflected in the following verse. Seva sadhaka rupena siddharupena chatrahi tad bhava lipsuna karya vraja lokanusarata. It's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-295. That means one who has intense longing to attain Ragatmika Bhakti follows in the footsteps of the Ragatmika Vrajavasis, such as Sri Rupa Manjari. With his external body, in his sadhak roop, he should chant and hear according to the practice of Raganuga Bhakti as exhibited by Srila Rupa Gosvāmī, and simultaneously in his self-realized form, in his siddha roop, bestowed upon him by his Guru, he should perform service in the Anugatya of eternal residents of Vraj, or Ragatmika Vrajavasis, such as Sri Rupa Manjari. And so we see how Śrīla Gurudeva performed this Karshna Anushilan of Karshna, all these god brothers of his Gurudeva and the disciples of his god brothers also, the disciples of his Gurudev's god brothers, so I guess his god cousins, and their disciples. And so that's one Karshna Anushilan in your sadhak group. And then we see how Śrīla Gurudeva was so absorbed in the moods of Vraj and the Vrajvasis, and so then that other Karshna Anushilan, following those Vrajavasis, who are filled with rag, in his Siddharup. So he exemplified this verse, Seva Sadhaka Rupena Siddharupena Chatrahi. That's the only way to perform Krishna Anushilan, is by that Karshna Anushilan. So his service to Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja, our Prabhupada. Śrīla Gurudeva was a lifelong well-wisher, prominent supporter, and distinguished guardian of the worldwide preaching mission of Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja, Srila Prabhupada. Honoring the desire and request of his Shiksha Guru, Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja, Prabhupada, Śrīla Gurudeva accepted the service of presiding over and personally performing his Samadhi ceremony at Sri Krishna Balaram Mandir, the ISKCON temple in Vrindavan. And there's a picture of Śrīla Gurudeva doing the Abhishek in that festival. In about 1955, wait, did I skip anything? No, okay. In about 1955, Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja entrusted his large golden neem deity of Srimad Mahaprabhu to his dear godbrother, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja. This deity has been worshipped at Sri Keśavji Gaudiya Math in Mathura under the guidance of Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja since that time. Such a beautiful Mahaprabhu, isn't it? Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahāraja's Prabhupada's final instruction to Śrīla Gurudeva was to give guidance to his disciples. And you can actually hear that, that whole discussion. It's heart-melting. But you can hear those final instructions that Śrīla Prabhupada gave to Śrīla Gurudeva here. Śrīla Gurudeva took that instruction to heart and endeavored to nurture and guide them. In this way, he fulfilled the desires of his Shiksha Guru to the best of his ability, demonstrating his dedication to the Guru Parampara. After Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada entered Nitya-līlā. Family members from his previous household life made wrongful attempts to take control of the institution he had established, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON, and claimed all its assets. During this critical period, Śrīla Gurudeva journeyed to Mumbai several times, being requested by ISKCON's governing body commission to testify in court that he was witness to the ceremony in which Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Maharaj formally accepted sannyas. Furthermore, he, as the priest, had performed that ceremony, chanting the required mantras and performing the yajna. As a result, ISKCON was protected from an unjust transfer of authority. One second. Okay. Give me 1 second. I just need to. 1 second. We're almost at the end also. Just a little bit more. In the early 1990s, some GBC members and senior ISKCON devotees regularly visited Śrīla Gurudeva at Sri Keśavji Gaudiya Math to study Gaudiya scriptures under his guidance. Śrīla Gurudeva generously gave his time to personally acquainting them with some of the profound concepts contained within Brahma Samhita, Jaiva Dharma, Madhurya Kadambini, Shri Rasa Panchadhyaya, Vilap Kusmanjali, and other Gaudiya scriptures. All Sarasvata Vaiṣṇavas were his family. From this very Sri Keśavji Gaudiya Math, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja extended a token of his gratitude to his Shiksha Guru, Śrīmad Bhakti Sarvasva Giri Gosvāmī Mahārāja, for his heartfelt support of our Param Gurudev's preaching endeavors. Refer to Part 3, page 10. It's a whole description of that. Our Param Gurudev's separation also from Bhakti Sarvasva Giri Mahārāja, I explained it there. Śrīla Gurudeva sent his brahmacharis to Sri Vinod Vani Gaudiya Math. Sri Vinod Vani Gaudiya Math, situated in Sri Vrajdham, is near Banki Bihari, like on the way to Banki Bihari, and had them construct a boundary wall overnight to protect the land of Sri Vinod Vani Gaudiya Math from land mafia. He later boldly proclaims that they should not think that Vinod Vani Gaudiya Math is a single unit that stands alone, but that all Gaudiya Maths are one. So he had all the brahmacharis go in the middle of the night, and all throughout the night they built a whole wall all around Vinod Vani Gaudiya Math, because there's a problem with the land. Even though Sri Keśavji Gaudiya Math was small, devotees from various maths and organizations would reside there under the guidance of Śrīla Gurudeva to be trained in Gaudiya Siddhanta, Seva, and Bhajan. Being free from feelings of, this is my disciple, and that is your disciple, Śrīla Gurudeva would spiritually nurture everyone equally, as if they were his family members. we hear of different people from different mats who would reside in our mat for a good period of time. Like from, other Gaudiya mats. Okay, so establishing mats. This is the final section and it's short. Establishing mats as centers of Krishna Anushilan. While residing at Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Mat, Śrīla Gurudeva oversaw the construction of several prominent mats. He supervised the construction of Sri Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Mat and Sri Gopinath Bhavan in Vrindavan, Sri Durvasa Rishi Ashram in Mathura, Sri Giridhari Gaudiya Mat in Govardhan, Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Mat, Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Mat in Navadvip, Sri Vāman Gosvāmī Gaudiya Mat in Kolkata, Sri Raman Vihari Gaudiya Mat in Delhi, Jai Sri Damodar Gaudiya Mat in Puri, and others. The purpose of his doing so was to fulfill the cherished desires of his Sri Guru Padma and Śrīla Prabhupāda. He established these Gaudiya Mats so that all could engage in Krishna Anushilan. Sri Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Mat, Vrindavan. Śrīla Gurudeva established Sri Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Mat in Seva Kunj, Sri Dham Vrindavan, to preserve, practice, and propagate the Gaudiya Rupa Nuga Ras Upasana, devotional absorption steeped in transcendental ras as taught by Śrīla Rupa and Śrīla Sanatan Goswamis. So I have Rupa Sanatan Gaudiya Mat. Above the main altar, he established another altar displaying paintings of a Seva Kunj pastime that reveals the pinnacle of Gaudiya conceptions that he had Srimati Shamarani Mataji paint. Śrīla Gurudeva inspired a style of art that is not only uniquely beautiful, but 100% loyal to Gaudiya Siddhanta. He had several reasons for wanting this scene depicted. He orchestrated and displayed detailed and uniquely beautiful life-size paintings of a Seva Kunj pastime that had manifested in his heart. These paintings are a spiritual window that gives aspirants of Rupa Nuga Ras Upasana a glimpse of that pastime. And I remember before Shamarani Mataji did that painting, Śrīla Gurudeva had another Vrajvasi artist do that same painting, all the details and everything like that. But then he wasn't completely satisfied with that. And then when Shamarani Mataji came to him, then he had her do it. So this will be continued and concluded in part 5, which we'll publish on Śrīla Gurudeva's Vyas Puja Day. And that one this one was focused on Gurudev in Mathura specifically, and in part 5, this is just Gurudev's glories, and not just tied to Mathura, but his glories in general. So, all glories to Śrī Mathura Dham, all glories to Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Mat, all glories to the Gaudiya Rupa Nuga Sarasvat Guru Parampara, all glories to nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Om viṣṇupāda Ashrutarashata Śrīmad Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvatī Ṭhākura Prabhupāda, all glories to nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Om viṣṇupāda Ashrutarashata Śrīmad Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja, all glories to nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Om viṣṇupāda Ashrutarashata Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja, all glories to their dedicated servants Gaur Premanande. So this is translated from Shri Bhagavad Patrika, year 20, issue 5 to 12, by the Rays of the Harmonist team. Wow, it is exactly 8:30. I said that we're going to end at 8:30, and I was right on the dot. So that's our program for today. And as I mentioned, tomorrow we will read the second half of these 26 qualities of Srila Vāmana Goswami Maharaj. So yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful festival wherever you are in the world. And yeah, Jai Śrīla Gurudeva. Right. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Sachinandan Gaura Hari, Sachinandan Jai Gaura Hari, Jai Radha Vinod Bihari, Radha Vinod Bihari Radhe, Jaya Rupa Raghunath, Rupa Sanatan, Jai Rupa Sanatan, Rupa Sanatan, Jai Rupa Sanatan, Jai Rupa Raghunath, Rupa Raghunath, Rupa Raghunath, Jai Rupa Raghunath, Jaya Bhaktivedānta Thakur, Bhaktivedānta, Bhaktivedānta Thakur, Bhaktivedānta, Jai Bhaktisiddhānta Sārasvatī Prabhupāda, Bhaktisiddhānta Sārasvatī Prabhupāda, Jai Swaparshara Śrīla Prabhupāda, Swaparshara Śrīla Prabhupāda, Jai Bhakti Prajñāna Śrīla Keśava Gosvāmī, Bhakti Prajñāna Śrīla Keśava Gosvāmī, Jai Bhaktivedānta Swami Prabhupāda, Bhaktivedānta Swami Prabhupāda, Jaya Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī, Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī, Jai Bhaktivedānta Trivikram Gosvāmī, Bhaktivedānta Jai Trivikram Gosvāmī, Jai Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī, Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī, Jai Gurudeva, 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 Jai Gurudeva, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Radha Raman Bihari Ju Ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai, Jai nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudeva Ki Jai, Śrīla Gurudev's 15th disappearance day Ki Jai, the Viraha Mahotsavs being celebrated all around the world Ki Jai, Jai nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Trivikram Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai, nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai, Jai Śrīla Vāmana Gosvāmī Mahārāja's 104th Vyasa Puja Tithi Ki Jai, Jai nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja Śrīla Prabhupāda Ki Jai, nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīmad Śrīla Bhakti Prajñāna Keśava Gosvāmī Mahārāja Ki Jai, nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa viṣṇupāda Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktisiddhānta Sarasvati Gosvāmī Prabhupāda ki jai. nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Mahārāja Śrīla Gurudeva Mahārāja ki jai. nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Śrīla Satchidananda Bhaktivedānta Ṭhākura ki jai. nitya-līlā-praviṣṭa Vaiṣṇavas Āvirbhāva Śrīla Jagannath Mahārāja ki jai. Śrī Rūpāno Gaudiya Guru Varga ki jai. Śrī Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Śrī Jeev Gopala Bhattadasa Raghunath Shāra Gosvāmī Prabhu ki jai. Śrī Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Śrī Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namachay Śrīla Haridas Ṭhākura ki jai. Prem se kaho Śrī Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvāsari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Śrī Kshetra Mandala, Gora Mandala, Vraja-maṇḍala, Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishtabhadata Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai. Śrī Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki jai. Śrī Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Śrī Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Śrī Bhakti Devi ki jai. Śrī Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai. Śrī Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Jai Śrī Harinama Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaiṣṇava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. And all the devotees celebrating this Tithi all over the world ki jai. Jai Śrī Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta, sorry. Jai Śrī Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyaya Keśava Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavataya Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams. Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, my parents, Rishabh Prabhu, and my mother Nischinta Devi, and Nanda Nandan Prabhu, Lola Mataji, Champak Mataji, Sarveshwari Mataji, and let's see on YouTube and Facebook, see Vidya Lalasa Didi, Manani Radha Didi. I don't know who that is. It says Kinetic 44. Pranams to you. And Bhakti Yoga Society Philippines. So pranams to all devotees there in the Philippines and all the other devotees watching now. And also all the devotees watching in the future, like Shachi Devi, Jayadev Prabhu, Krishna Rose, Ananda Pradayani, Vrinda Didi, Anuradha Mataji, and everybody else. Dandavat pranams. Thank you so much for joining, and see you all tomorrow to continue reading the glories of Srila Vāmana Goswami Maharaj. I hope you all have a very deep, blissful absorption in your festivals today, all over the world, wherever you are. Hari Bol. Our program here in Gopinath Bhavan will start in 1 hour, 20 minutes, 9:30 a.m. So, all right. And then there'll be another program here at 4:30 p.m. in Gopinath Bhavan. And also there's programs at Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Math all throughout the day as well. So, yeah. All right. Jai Shri Radhe. Hari Bol. Is there anything anybody wants to mention before I end the stream for today? All right. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Jai Śrīla Gurudeva ki jai. Wasn't this a beautiful glorification though? I've never heard Gurudev glorified in so much detail, specifically Gurudev and in Mathura, like just focused in Mathura like that. And so, yeah, I just thought it was a really unique glorification. So, all right, see you all tomorrow. Hari Bol. Oh, and Hari Bol, yeah, okay, Jai.